Meyer, COO of System 7, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about something that is becoming more and more of a vital concern for construction-related companies, and that is cybersecurity. As the industry becomes more and more digital, the threats to your company grow along with that. And that's largely because of the amount of data that you hold and the type of information that you pass back and forth is very valuable to attackers. So in this video, I want to show you just why cybersecurity is so critical for your company and things that you can do to protect yourself. Some of the more common threats are stuff you might have heard before, like phishing attacks, and that's where your staff gets sent an email and through a link or through some other process that they initiate through that email, they're giving away their login credentials. Another more common one, something that we hear a lot about these days, is ransomware attacks. And that is where somebody, a bad actor, gets access to your data and they hold it hostage for money. Another common one is insider threats, where people who are working for you, whether they're employees or contractors, they either inadvertently or sometimes, I hate to say it, on purpose, give access to your systems to outside people. And one of the very common ones is just having weak passwords or not having your systems updated to the latest versions. That makes an easy target for attackers. These threats are going to halt your projects and they're going to interrupt your revenue. And knowing about them is awesome, but really, what do we do about it? So I want to talk about a real world example about a cyber attack that happened in Texas last year. The Whole Group is a very large construction company in Texas, and they were hit with a data breach last year. Cybercriminals gained access to a lot of personal data, financial data, contract information, but it put 12,000 individuals' personal security at risk. And not only did that breach lead to financial loss and a lot of bad press, but the legal ramifications that you're now seeing in the news is pretty extensive. This is a good example of what can happen when your cybersecurity game is not on point. And honestly, if it could happen to a company as large as the Holt Group, it can happen to any of us. And in fact, we are better targets for a lot of cyber attackers than a company the size of the Holt Group. So you may be telling yourself, well, why would they want to go after me? I am not, the Holt Group. That's exactly why they would go after somebody like you and I. It's because we are not as large. And so they perceive that as an easier attack. So what can construction companies do to protect themselves? So the first I would bring up is employee training. Having your staff understand the things that they can do to protect the company and their own data is pretty critical at this point. They really should learn about the risks in phishing attacks and password security and safe browsing habits. Another obvious, hopefully, one is multi-factor authentication. It is amazing to me that people still are not using multi-factor authentication. It is an added layer of protection that you can turn on tomorrow. Another is just regular software updates. Keeping your systems up to date is pretty critical because as threats become known, your software systems are updating in order to protect you from them. But it only works if you're actually updating your systems. And the last one I'd bring up is data encryption. It's important to understand how to protect your data, both when it is sitting in storage in a server or some other storage facility, but also when it's in transit, when it's going from one place to another. So there's a lot of things that System 7 can do. Our limitless managed IT product was built with cybersecurity in mind from the get-go. We will come in and do a cybersecurity assessment. In fact, we'll come in and do that for you right now for no money. And this can help uncover gaps in your current cybersecurity. And then we would work with you to create a security plan. We'll show you how our stack and our processes can be overlaid to your current processes to keep you more secure. And then with our limitless IT, we'll be monitoring and protecting you and your staff 24/7. We will come in and we will train your staff on how to be more secure and how to protect your information and your data. We'll show them how to use the tools that come with our limitless managed IT services, but then we'll just also train them on how to be more secure in their day-to-day activities. But whether or not you come to System 7 for our services, there are some things that you can do just to become more cyber secure today. The first is get a cybersecurity risk assessment done, whether that's through us or not. Ask somebody to come out and just assess your cybersecurity risks. And then I would implement immediately multi-factor authentication, some basic email protection, and password management. That is something that you can do yourself tomorrow, and it makes you infinitely more secure. One other thing I would do is create an incident response plan. So if something were to go wrong, you were to get an attack of some kind, just laying out these are the steps that somebody should take when that happens is a fairly easy thing to put in place, so that when something does happen, because it will eventually, you'll know what it is, the steps that you must take in order to get from where you're at today to back up and running. So last thing I would say is contact System 7. We'll come out and we'll make an honest assessment of what you're currently doing and how protected you currently are. And we'll give you recommendations. And sometimes that doesn't even mean that it would have to come with System 7, because sometimes we're not the right fit. But we'll be honest and we'll tell you what we would do in your shoes and how you can be much more secure. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment. If there were questions that you have that I didn't answer, please ask them and I'll reply. But subscribing, it really does help us build our network, and we really appreciate that. So thank you.